My name is Mike Winkelmann, and I release work under the name Beeple. The work is kind of graphic design, motion graphics. I do some like album art, VR, AR, concept work, concert visuals, short films. So it kind of encompasses a number of different mediums, but it's all very sort of digital, kind of techie type stuff. So how I got started doing this was I just started doing it. I live in Wisconsin, so there aren't a lot of opportunities for jobs like this there where I live. So I just started releasing personal work that I found to be interesting or cool or whatever, and people started contacting me for jobs for concert visuals. There's two kind of main projects that brought in a lot of work. One of them was everydays. I've been doing a picture every day for the last 10 years. And the other is I've released a series of Creative Commons VJ clips that are free for VJs to use and have been used by tons of people throughout the world. So those are kind of the main entry points, I think, for a lot of people for the work that I've done. I get the ideas from these things from, I go to sites like Tumblr, or, Behance, Pinterest, whatever, for like inspiration. But I think a lot of it is just sort of sitting down and something will come out. I think if you commit to sitting down, that's 90% of it. And that you will, if you're like, I'm doing something, by the end of the day for, like the everydays, it's like, some idea will come out. It's not going to be a blank page. So I think sometimes people get maybe a little too worried about where these ideas are going to come from. Something will come. It will probably be crap, but you're going to get that idea out and then move on to the next thing. So I think the sitting down is more important than where the ideas come from. So right now my setup in terms of what I use to build stuff is mainly a computer with Cinema 4D and After Effects, Photoshop, Illustrator. Those are kind of the sort of tools that I use on almost every project. But yeah, Cinema 4D is definitely sort of in the center of that in terms of like, especially everydays, all the everydays use Cinema 4D, and all the video work that I do. It's kind of the sort of base, and then everything kind of feeds into that sort of. So sort of the workflow between the sort of pictures, everydays, and the short films. A lot of times I'll start with the everydays as being a sort of a, kind of just sketch in terms of an idea, just to kind of get something down. And, sometimes if it turns out good, that'll be sort of adapted into like a VJ clip, which usually takes, the everydays are done start to finish one day. The VJ clips will usually be sort of 5 to 6, maybe a week. And then short films are usually, a year or two. It's definitely a longer-term project. But a lot of times the ideas will start from everydays, either something that I modeled or, a lighting technique or things like that. So it definitely feeds into, bigger projects outside of the everydays. So in terms of, there's a lot of assets that I have for free that people can download on my website, and that I think sort of the reason for that is just because, to be quite honest, after I render out the project, those files are kind of useless to me. They're just going to sit on my hard drive, and I have no use for them. So if other people can learn from them, that's awesome, because I would not have been able to make those without sort of all the tutorials that people have made and sort of given back to the community. So this is kind of, the least I would say I can do to sort of give back to the community, which is, it seems like Cinema 4D in particular has like such a strong community of people who are so willing to like teach others and help everybody like get up to speed. I'm not super familiar with 3D Studio Max or Maya, but it definitely seems like the Cinema 4D community is just super tight, and people are like very just encouraging, and like, I don't know, it's not negative at all, it's just super positive. So that's, being able to give back something to that is definitely, nice to be able to do. In terms of the new version R19 of Cinema 4D, I'm definitely very excited about the changes that they made to the fracture. I've been doing a lot of sort of building destruction, dystopian kind of landscapes, and having stuff where you can kind of connect certain pieces of it and just have a little more realistic looking fracture. I think, that's something that to me I think would be super, super useful for just the type of work that I happen to be doing at the moment. So, that's something that I'm super excited about. So, in terms of how I kind of came to use Cinema 4D and kind of a little more background, I actually went to school for computer science, and kind of halfway through realized I didn't really want to be a programmer. It wasn't like super interesting, but it was kind of, I was paying out-of-state tuition, so it was very expensive, so I didn't really want to switch majors, so I just kind of tried to teach myself the design stuff kind of on the side. So I don't really have any, art school. I didn't go to art school, or kind of background like that. But in terms of how I came to use Cinema 4D, I had done 1 year of Everydays. The first year of Everydays was actually drawing. I wanted to get better at drawing. And then I did get better at drawing. I still suck at drawing, but I definitely got better. And so I thought maybe I could use that to learn Cinema 4D. And, I didn't know anything about Cinema 4D, Maya, Max, whatever. The thing I had heard about Cinema 4D, though, is that compared to the others, it was easier to learn. It had like an easier learning curve. And so that's what kind of initially drew me to it. And yeah, since then, I haven't really seen anything in the other programs. To be honest, it's kind of like must-have that would make me, want to invest the massive amount of time to learn Maya or Max or this or that. So, in terms of trying to make time for Everydays, I think there is no sort of magical answer there. You're just going to have to cut something out. I mean, everybody, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So whenever you want to do something, you want to run a marathon, you want to do blah blah blah, it's going to mean saying no to things. So there unfortunately isn't some magic trick. You just have to kind of, I think, being flexible about when you do something, and making sure that if you're trying to start an everyday, that it's something that can be done, worst case, in 5 minutes. So that everybody has 5 minutes every day. You can't say, I didn't have 5 minutes. That's not true. Everybody has 5 minutes. So I think keeping the momentum of the project, being able to, worst case, I've got, stomach flu, I'm like puking my brains out, hobble over to the computer for 5 minutes, throw down a couple cubes, call it a day, keep the streak going. So I think those are some things that can kind of help you keeping it going, doing something that doesn't require a huge amount of time to every day. If it's kind of like something where it's like, oh, this is going to take a minimum of 2 hours. There's some days you're not going to have 2 hours. Making it something that's 5 minutes that, you can definitely do every single day is going to help you keep the momentum of the project, because once you lose the momentum, it's really, really hard to sort of regain that.